Hi, welcome to my latest YouTube video and podcast. I'm Rosenberg, the author of The Human Magnet Syndrome and the Codependency Revolution. Today I'm going to talk about what I call relationship circles. It's a concept that a friend of mine, Karen Kaplan, once shared with me, I would guess maybe around 10, 12 years ago, to explain how she manages her friendships, both as they get closer or more distant. But the utility of this concept for most people in general, especially those who I consider self-love deficient or codependent, is monumental. Most codependents, or SLDs, self-love deficients, they believe that they are perpetually stuck in relationships for which if they make a decision to go closer or go more distant, there's going to be consequences. And some consequences are very real, and some consequences are imagined in their mind. And so they are often entrapped, sometimes imprisoned, what they believe are the rules of the relationship. For example, if a codependent is married or in a romantic relationship with a pathological narcissist, someone with a personality disorder, such as borderline, narcissistic, or antisocial personality disorder, they believe that that person has to be the center of their life, the most important person, the one whom they must give all the trust, love, respect, caring, trust, protection, money, sex, attention, everything to them, with the hopes that it is reciprocal or mutual. But really, because it's a codependent narcissist relationship, it never is. But still, these people are their lovers, their husband, their wife, their partner. And they believe that it doesn't matter what happens to them in a relationship and how they are treated. It doesn't matter how they feel. It doesn't matter what is objectively true about the relationship. For example, an affair or constant fights or domestic violence. It doesn't matter the facts about the relationship. They are deeply involved, almost intractably involved in this relationship for which they cannot move backwards in. They cannot try to distance themselves in because of believing that should they move backwards, should they become less connected, less intimate, less loving, there will be immense, immediate consequences. So essentially, SLDs with their pathological narcissists, because of the human magnet syndrome, which is the attraction of opposites, the caregiving SLD is attracted to and stuck in a relationship with the care-needing narcissist partner. They are trapped. They're trapped because they cannot stand up for the reality of the neglect, the abuse, the harassment, the affairs, the lying, the cheating, the manipulation, the gaslighting. They cannot stand up to it, set boundaries to require the narcissist to take care of them, to love them, to respect them, not to hurt them. For if they do that, the consequence for that is going to far exceed the consequence for just not saying anything. So to the SLD, in this relationships circle, there is one place that they're always going to be, is very close, very connected, immovably, intractably, and often permanently. Now, as you're going to learn from this video or this podcast, that where you can go in a relationship, either forwards in closeness and intimacy or backwards in less closeness and less intimacy, is up to the person who is in the relationship. Sometimes it's up to both people, but we're just talking about one person now. So let's first look at the relationship circle concept. If you can imagine a big circle, and within that circle, there are 4 concentric circles, circles that are placed within them. At the very center of the relationship circle is the small circle, which is the close, intimate relationships. These are the relationships that are often comprised of mother-child, father-child, siblings, husband-wife, the type of relationships that some people would explain that they would die for the other person. They would do almost anything for them. And these relationships are often reciprocal, that if one person needs help, they'll ask. They know that the person to whom they're asking is going to be there for them. and vice versa. These are very close relationships that when it comes to family members often last a lifetime, and when it comes to marriage or romantic relationships, more often than not can change. Out of the close intimate circle is the next circle, and that is the close friend circle. Within this group of friends are people that you love, you like, you enjoy, you spend time with. It's important for you to maintain the continuity of the relationship. If you haven't seen that person in a while, you check in with them. And should you not see them in a while, the connection, the love, the affection, the good thoughts return immediately, and you're just overwhelmed with this warm feeling of friendship and connection. You love hanging out with these people. They're your friends. You might not see them all the time. They might move away. Or maybe life just happens where you're busy. I think John Lennon said, life is what happens when you're busy making other plans. Well, in situations like this, and within this circle of the close friends, they're there for you, and you can ask for their help, and they can ask for yours. But when we compared the close friends with the close intimate friends, the primary difference is you always know that the close intimate friends are going to be there for you no matter what. That you're not going to feel bad, you're not going to feel uncomfortable if you reach out for their help. And you just know that. It's implicit, it's explicit, it's just known. But with the other outer close friend circle, you don't take that for granted. You don't assume that they'll be there for you. You don't assume that they're going to tell you everything. But yet there's a closeness and a bond. It's warm, it's beautiful, and it's a wonderful group of friends to have. Outside from the close friend circle are your friends circle. And these are the folks you enjoy hanging out with. You see them sometimes regularly or irregularly. They might live down the block. They might be in your church, your synagogue, your mosque. They're people that you hang out with. And when you see, you enjoy them and you chat and you catch up. You do things with. You invite them to parties. You truly enjoy who they are, but there's not an expectation that you have to maintain some continuity to these friends. It's known you guys are friends. There's only so much information that is shared between this level or this circle of friends. And in these relationships, very personal information isn't often shared. And then beyond that circle are acquaintances. These are folks that you know, that you like, and you don't really share that much information with, but there's a nice superficial connection. So if we look at these concentric circles, the first middle one, close intimate, the one outward, close friend, and the one outward from that, friend, and the one at the outer edges of the relationship circle, acquaintances, we get an idea of the linear nature of how friendships work. At the center of the relationship circles is the close, intimate connection, trust. It's where you just feel you can be yourself no matter what. Ask whatever you need no matter what. And these are the people that make life so beautiful and safe because you know someone's always going to be there. And then as you go outward, you have a different level of friendships, all that are meaningful, all that are important, and all that are equally necessary. So to someone who's not an SLD, the relationship circle concept represents healthy relationships. For most people, there's not a large number of folks who are at the very center. And again, for most people, there's more people that are at the outer edges of the circle. And that's normal. For healthy people, there is this linear movement of in and out. A friend can become more close over time or be less close. It's not necessary for that friend to go away, to have a breakup, or to have some conflict or some confrontation, that there's this natural linear progression or digression of friendships. But for SLDs, which this video is mostly for, self-love deficit disorder folks, the people that are involved in my self-love recovery program, or maybe yourself or a friend that you know, they don't quite understand the linear nature, the fluid nature of the relationship circle concept. They feel that the narcissist has to be the center, the close, intimate relationship, that they must stay within that type of relationship no matter what happens. No matter if the narcissist engenders the love, respect, caring, trust, and protection, they take advantage of it, or they just push it away. They feel that they must stay in that type of relationship with that person, because should they want to move outward, become less intimate, less close, there's a consequence. The narcissist will have a narcissistic injury. They will get triggered or activated. They will either directly, passive-aggressively, or covert-aggressively punish them should they want to downgrade or move that relationship backwards in the circle concept. There's no option. They are stuck, that they must stay connected, close. And for the SLD, that reality is mind-bending. It's mind-shattering. It requires them to disassociate from their feelings, disassociate from the natural consequences or events in their life that either justify why you should be close or justify why you should be less close. That they have to ignore that. They have to pretend it didn't happen, because for them to maintain the close, intimate relationship, and I quote that, and being involved in a relationship with a harmful pathological narcissist, they have to distort reality. For some, the reality is distorted for them. They're gaslit. And that's a whole nother topic that I've covered before in my videos, in my book, and some of my online seminar instructive audio and video material. So they're stuck. They're stuck that they have to be everything and anything for the narcissist in a relationship that does not fill them up with feelings of safety and love and respect and warmth. And if they should bring anyone else into that circle, say a sister, a sibling, a parent, a best friend, the pathological narcissist becomes very, very distrustful, sometimes paranoid, sometimes angry, because there's no room in that relationship circle for anyone else other than the narcissist and the captive, the SLD. They are not only territorial, insecure, and sometimes paranoid, but they go through great efforts to keep people away from their partner, the SLD, to keep people who normally or previously were connected to them at such a close, intimate manner, is to keep them out of that circle. They convince the SLD that that person either doesn't love them as much as them and can consciously, through conversation, prove that to them, or if they're gaslighting, they can manipulate the environment, they can create deceptive situations, lies, manipulation, and try to show their SLD partner that this close person, say a mother or a sister, doesn't love and care for them nearly as much as they do, and then prove to them by manipulation of the environment, which is gaslighting and all sorts of other manipulation, that only they, the gaslighting, pathologically manipulative narcissist, is the one that deserves to be in that center part of the relationship circle. And should someone enter it, then the narcissist will get very, very upset and immediately come into this offensive, sometimes defensive reaction to make sure that they are pushed backwards from the close friend, and maybe even further. So the SLD lives in a world where there's only one person at the center of this relationship circle, and that is them and the narcissist. Now, if the SLD is gaslit, they believe, although they've been manipulated to believe, that this is the person that would die for them, that loves them unconditionally. But whether they believe it or not, the truth is that the pathological narcissist is incapable of unconditional love, respect, caring, trust, and protection, as the former lovers, friends, family, the folks who are in the center circle were. So they are held captive at the center of this relationship circle without a person who can actually be that unconditionally loving, safe person. And should they try to confront that person, try to push back on that reality, there's an automatic punishment. Sometimes it is a physical punishment, a verbal punishment, emotional punishment. Sometimes it could be with the kids, it can be with the friends. Whatever it is, it's backlash. And it's very sad for these codependents because all they have is that relationship with the narcissist at the center. The friends that are at the outside of that, the close friends, they've gone away because those friends have been pushed further away because the narcissist has become insecure, paranoid, and suspicious of them, much like what they did with the friends at the center circle. And so what happens is the narcissist creates this vacuum where the SLD is sucked into the center circle and all other friends that they have are pushed outwards, kind of like this push of anti-gravity. The friends that were once close are pushed out. They become more and more distant, more disconnected. And for the SLD, that makes them isolated, alone, lonely, and powerless. But now let's talk about the relationship circles with respect to SLR recovery, my self-love recovery treatment program. When an SLD begins that program and they decide that they no longer can live as a prisoner to their self-love deficit disorder, which is their problem, for which they're responsible, and a prisoner to the narcissist who is harmful to them, which is their problem too, but they're not as responsible for. They can't survive if they don't have friends and loved ones in their life that can be supportive and helpful and kind and giving and just there. So the first thing that I say to you, if you are an SLD or you know someone who's an SLD, is that you cannot live alone in the center of this circle with a pathological narcissist in a relationship that either you believe is beautiful and loving, but can't see that it's not, or you know it's corrupt at the very core, but you don't have the power or the courage to escape it, is that you can move out of it. You can go outwards. The relationship circle is meant to have linear backwards and forwards motion. In a relationship with someone who is not a pathological narcissist, let's just call it a garden variety relationship that's going to move towards divorce. Two people that aren't well matched, things have broken down, for whatever reason they're getting divorced. Well, that person naturally moves outward in importance, sometimes slowly or rapidly, and the friends that were more outward can move inward. For the ones that were once really close that had to move outward towards the close friend or friend levels of the circle, well, now there's room and there's an invitation to bring these friends back into your life. And it's natural, it's fluid, and no one's angry. It just happens. And the person who's on their way out, say the spouse, the best friend, they kind of know what the deal is. Things are kind of done. Things are going backwards. Some can maintain a close relationship. Some cannot and can try to maintain a superficial relationship. And some have to be gone from that person's life. That is the nature of relationship circles. So I say to you, if you're an SLD, You can move forwards and backwards at your own will. You can make your own decisions about who you want in your life, how much you want to go close, how much you want to go backwards, and kind of add more boundaries and more safety. You get to decide. And the consequences are not severe. For most people, they are just absent. There's no consequences. They just happen. If you have a very close friend that you went to college with, and then after college you move away and you get a job, slowly over time you become less and less close. Instead of the close friends that would do almost anything for one another, you become friends and you try to stay connected. No one feels guilty. No one feels unsafe. No one feels like they've been hurt. If you have a friend who you enjoy, say someone who's at work that you've had lunch with a couple times, you can make a decision to build that relationship and go deeper. Because the deeper you go, the more intimate it is and the more risky it becomes. But the relationships can also become safer as the new relationship coalesces into the new level. You're not stuck. There is no threats. There are no consequences. And in most cases, if your intuition is well-tuned and you have self-love abundance and you're not imbued with self-love deficiency or you're an SLD, you just follow your intuition. But for the SLDs, you can do this. You might need help. You might need my self-love recovery program. You might need some therapy. But you can move in the direction of becoming more important to others and having others more important than you. You can move people closer and enjoy that. And you can move people further away. And you don't even have to say anything most of the times. And there's no consequences. It is your choice. It is your life. You are not punished. There's no risk. And should there be risk, you'll know it. What's the risk of having a friend who is a close friend who over time, because you don't do much with or talk with, become more of an acquaintance? Most people don't punish others for this. It just happens naturally. And I say to you, if you're an SLD or you work with them, you can move in any direction you want and do not personalize. Make yourself believe it is your fault if someone is mad, if you want to be less close or more distant. Or don't be too hard on yourself if you want to be closer with someone and they're not responding in kind. It's the nature of friendships, something you didn't learn growing up because you came from a dysfunctional family. One of your parents were more than likely a pathological narcissist and the other was a codependent. So early in your childhood, you did not have a family system that demonstrated how relationships are built and how people become closer and less close dependent on all of these variables. So I hope that this video, this audio, this podcast on relationship circles can help you better understand that it is up to us. It's up to our decisions on if we want to move closer and more intimate within this relationship circle or move outward and less close, less intimate, and still enjoy the friends. We have that luxury. We can do this, and you can do that. And should you not, well, get some help, because you deserve the ability, the chance to decide on who you want to be friends with and how close you want to be or how close you don't want to be. I recommend, if you are interested in this topic and the other topics that I talk about, consider my Patreon program. And there will be more information on that in the description or the links below. Or go to selfloverecovery.com and check out more of what I do and the services and the information that I have to share. Love to hear from you. So selfloverecovery.com or check out our Patreon. But it's been so great sharing this information with you, and I wish you the very, very best. You take care now. Goodbye.